Okay, welcome back. And well, the president is in Brazil. It's about the G20 leaders. But maybe our guest, Muktar Mohammed, he's been saying that he's really struggling to find how this is really going to benefit us, apart from us being part of the Committee of Nations. And I suppose, even though the one that sticks out is that the president has spoken on the whole crisis in Gaza, he's added his voice to the fact that a solution does need to be found. But beyond that, people are saying, where else does this benefit us? That one will, you can say, benefits us from the point of view of being part of humanity. And any way you look at it, what is going on in Gaza, it's just unconscionable. So, but that's to one side. The other aspect of it now is that, for instance, surely we should be able to talk about, I know you'd much rather, and Nigerians would much rather, we were talking about a product that we have, and as it is, it's crude. We do have the largest, refinery anywhere in the world now, thanks to the efforts of Dangote refinery. But I don't know that that is as yet giving us as much joy as we should be getting. So only God knows what kind of signals are being sent. The other time it was said that, Nigeria is no more importing fuel from anywhere. Then 2 or 3 days later, we get a clarifying statement from the NNPC saying that nobody said that. Maybe a mistake was made because at the time the general, chief executive was speaking, extemporaneously, and what he meant was that if business conditions allow, we will take from, for example, Dangote. Otherwise, it's a market situation. We will go. So when you hear those kind of signals,
that's a challenge. Now you see us as a nation saying that, look, it's cheaper for us to import fuel. In the other hand, you see the CBN saying, we are happy that Dangote refinery has come to reduce 40% FX demand that normally result in exchange rate very high. And you realize that since that refinery has come to stay, we're thinking that 40% pressure will go, and that will drive down the exchange rate. But rather, we have seen the exchange rate continue to move right from the day that Aligo Dangote said his refinery is working. So that tells you that there's a lot of things that we are not doing right. Now, we are there fighting, we want to be importing. Then a country like Ghana, Angola, also an oil-producing nation like Nigeria, South Africa, coming to negotiate with the same Nigerian company that Nigerians are not ready to negotiate and say, look, we want you to begin to supply us refined petroleum product. And now what is happening now is that the man that is supposed to be getting those refined petroleum product through our the naira to dollar exchange policy that was driven by the Mr. President is now looking for FX to buy crude oil because you are not able to give him the crude oil that you have promised him. So how will your exchange rate go down? So look, it's not rocket science to fix the economic situation of Nigeria. And it's not that the people that are in authority, sometimes I tend to ask myself, it's not that Muktar Mohammed know better than them. All whatever you are going to say today, they already know it. Why are they not doing it? And that draws us down to what we keep saying, that when the structure, like they will say, when the foundation is faulty, what can the righteous do? We've had a very faulty foundation. We are not ready. Every time we see those foundations being built, it's built by a strong man. It's not built by a strong institution. And when the strong man goes, we are back to square one. So there's a lot of challenge that Nigerians are facing. Unfortunately, I think I for one thought that, look, you can praise Mr. President Tinubu that this. With what I have seen in him do in Lagos, I expected so much economically. But unfortunately, I don't think I'm getting that value yet.
People actually are now commenting that, it seems to turn out that Nigeria is not Lagos. What was successful...
I don't want to go into those... in Lagos, you are dealing with the governor that have the House of Assembly that is controlled by a single party, that has its men on ground, that knows the local government chairman, that knows the chairman of the road union, the transport, that knows this, that can just make a phone call. But in Nigeria, we are dealing with a very complex situation. You are dealing with people that are politicians. You are dealing with people that have enjoyed from the status quo. You are dealing with people that are not ready for change. How can a former governor come out and say Lagos is trying to colonize the North? You don't say that. You see, I keep saying it. What has driven Nigeria to where we are today is politics in our economy. Where we are, you're talking about the removal of subsidy. This was a thing that I think would have done it when President Goodluck was about to do it at that time. I keep saying it, there was no better time at that time. Our reserve at that time was 100 billion. That would not have, even if we have floated our currency, we wouldn't have a problem. At the time, we are not doing the same policy because most of us went for political gain. The politicians hijacked it. At the time, we are floating the currency. Our reserve is 30 billion. Out of that 30 billion, we owe about only 3 billion because when you look at the audited report, 27 billion is more or less like loan. So how do you survive in such a situation? So when you see good policy comes in, somebody says somebody's trying to benefit a particular region to the detriment of another region. We are not even looking at the good of that policy. The good of that policy is the smaller businesses that are mostly in the north are going to benefit. That's what they are not looking at that. They are looking at the political angle that what will be coming to the state government, not to the ordinary citizen in terms of the man that is doing business, but what will be coming to the state government that will be able to be shared politically. It's not going to be the same. That's the challenge of the political class. They are not looking at that place that says that business turnover is going to, if you're not going to pay tax if you're able to do a lot of turnover. They are not looking at that document that says company income tax is going to go down by 5%. That means companies will make more money. They will be able to expand. They will employ. Nobody's looking at that. They are not looking at that side that says that, look, if you create value for a product, the value added tax is going to come to you. Nobody's looking at that. They are only looking at, because they are not ready to create value, the value added tax will not come to you. That's what they are looking at.
Well, there's a problem there because to go to the other point that you made, you see, things just don't work yet. Let me just add the word yet. It seems to be a struggle. The president offered, not just offered, also said that, look, you know what, this whole logjam of sourcing for petrol, okay, Dangote refinery, NMPC, go ahead and sell to him in Naira. Remove the pressure of. It still doesn't appear
because till today, Uncle Yori, till today,
so all of
what is the exchange rate? Remember, I keep saying that all of us just say, the president said go and sell to Dangote in Naira. But people have forgotten the condition that the president put there. The co-president said it will be at a fixed rate. Fixed exchange rate. He made that say fixed exchange rate. Up till this moment, neither Dangote or NNPC have told us what that fixed exchange rate is.
So why all the cloak and dagger? Because all of this is also being communicated to the world. Because now
we are going to G20. So what are you going to tell the world?
This is the point I was making. So
Petrobras in Brazil are planning. They are one of the largest company in terms of oil company in the world. And Nigeria happens to be one of their markets where we export refined petroleum products. And so you are going there, you think they will support you? So we need to begin to protect our own. I keep saying, why is Samsung a global player today with iPhone? It's because the government in South Korea gave Samsung a level playing ground and make sure that Samsung enjoy a lot of benefits to be able to compete globally. And that is why you see that when there are challenges with Samsung in terms of corruption, in terms of this thing, the government seems to play down on it and give them soft landing. But in our own case, when the biggest company in Nigeria is the one, the country that is going to bring us one of the biggest companies that we should say is our joy to the international community, those are the companies that we say they are corrupt. We need to deal with them. We need to make them not to be competitive.
No, but surely we need to be fighting corruption as well. I understand.
I'm
not saying
we can't fight corruption.
No.
Because what I'm saying that you must also have. Okay, we're talking about American first. That Trump is saying. What is he saying? Say, I'm protecting our indigenous company. How much of government policy is vital towards protecting indigenous company? You just mean, let's go to Dangote. How much is government doing to protect the largest single train refinery in the world? How much is government patronizing it?
This is the problem, and it's Nigerian.
It's Nigeria. And now you're telling me to pride myself to wear made in Nigerian goods.
Mazi Okorafo, good morning to you, sir.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, I guess. Sir, you see that the G20 campaign that is going on now is a very dicey, very, very sensitive. If you look at the whole war right now, the countries that are facing what we call that is war. Now, you ask yourself, at the end of the day, the president is coming back with fact, at least the rapport between him and the G20, these are the main factors. The main people that have the economy, the main people that have security, the main people that have what it takes for the whole world to vibrate. So at the end of the day, something good is coming back to Nigeria. Let's see security in terms of security. At least for going there now, we know the type of security situation in Nigeria. At least any countries that we do have to liaise with them, so that all these missiles, all this equipment that we need, but the best outside from here, you get the connection, the connectivity. It will help Nigeria. Because by the time we secure our country with the help the president will get now, it will help us now. All these issues of scarcity of food, all this stuff, look at this stuff in it. We will not discuss all those things and it will come back to Nigeria. We have seen what is happening now. Every day we'll be hearing that the national grid has collapsed. Even as I'm talking to you now, the national grid, I don't know whether it's whether get the next 2 hours, 3 hours to that. These are the things that you go there, get the knowledge, come back home and implement it. That is why those that the president, when they come back, they implement what they have gathered there for the development of Nigeria. You cannot sit, what you don't know it. You cannot sit down in Nigeria and say that you have to do. No way. You have to get what you call international recognition, get international knowledge, gather facts from other countries, gather facts from other people, and come back to your place and make use of it. But if somebody is in the village, does he know what is happening? He doesn't know. If you don't leave your village and come to, how will you know? That is why it's need. And the benefit of what the president gives back to will be for the benefit of everybody. When they come back, the think tank that went there, they should come back, do what? Bring the message down to other sectors of the economy that took them to that place so that Nigeria will partake. We have to move to the so we are now on the digital era, no longer the analog. Anybody thinking about analog, for this present day, that person or he or is waiting for our time. Good morning, Majo Kraft from Canada State.
Thank you very much.
I like what Majo Kraft said. They say think tank. Who are the think tank? That's what we are saying. That's what I was saying. Who are the think tank that went with Mr. President? Somebody made a innovation. He said, these days you don't think, before you say you think out of the box. But these days you think in the cloud because we have stopped. That's the out of the box seems to be the analog. In cloud seems to be the digital. How much are we thinking as a nation? So
as you know, the expression really means thinking unusual.
That's what I'm saying. But that we see that is we have been thinking analog, and the analog thinking is fuel, petrol, crude oil. When are we begin to think in the cloud? And when you are starting thinking in the cloud, you know what you think about? You think about your people as your greatest resources. And then you begin to empower your people. Education is key.
Well, it's interesting you're putting it that way because it is the truth. But part of the objective of, I think the United Nations, including this whole one here, is that the world needs to come together through these, G20, top 20 economies, and decide how they are going to go about helping poorer countries.
I like that.
How much
but
that
Uncle Yori,
they actually need.
How much of them have they helped poorer countries? Look at history. Who has the G20 summit really helped? How much have they contributed to the GDP of some of these countries that are going there?
Well, they don't want to.
Once you go there, you see that they are always thinking about business within themselves.
Of course.
Then the other small countries are there to eat the crumbs. Because like I said, unless you have a product that people cannot look away from. The only thing that some people like discussing with Nigeria is because we have crude, which is an international product. Outside of that, which other international product are we selling? And crude is competitive because you are talking about crude. You have crude there. Saudi Arabia has it. United Arab Emirates have it. What's the competitive advantage that you have there? When you are going to a summit like this, you think about your competitive advantage. What are you going to be selling? Who are those people that will be your seller? Yes, I agree. Mr. President is Nigeria's #1 marketing officer. You have to give it to him. He has tried as much as possible to market this country. He has not demarcated. You know, before we have a president that goes in and tells that our youth are lazy, the woman is in the other room. But at least we have a president that goes in and says, now, look, come to Nigeria. We want to do business. We want to open for business. We have done this reform. We have done this reform. But what I'm saying that we should take it a further. If you are saying you have done this reform, you have done, how much of this reform have benefited your people?
This is the biggest challenge.
How much those reforms have benefited your company? So that your company...
Because these are plans that
because
you're
your
selling.
company should not be competing at a disadvantage with those companies from those other nations when they come. Today, why have we not seen the African Continental Trade Agreement come to stream? Because we are not seeing the competitive advantage for various countries. So various countries are not seeing the company because they are not doing trade within themselves. When you go to the BRICS nation, I said about the BRICS nation, how much of trade do you do within yourself? You are calling yourself the BRICS nation, you are trying to go away with the US dollars, but all your foreign reserve, all your international, your reserve is saved in the US dollar. So what are we talking about? How much business do you do within yourselves? So we need to begin to look at things and begin to address it until you become self-sufficient in the fact that you say, look, I'm coming here, I'm not begging for aid. I have a product.
Whereas all those criticisms are indeed well taken because they actually, they stand up on their own. Still, Africa must be seen, African nations especially, must be seen to be part of the ongoing concern. And I think this is why you have all these other countries, African countries especially.
Yes, I totally agree with you, Uncle. In the area of insecurity, we are beginning to see that the Western world or the developed economy have made terrorism maybe a hotbed for the terrorists to stay. So they are now beginning to come into the Sahel region of Africa. And so that's what some of the things we should be seeing African leaders saying. How can you join us? How can you give us weapons? How can you join us to fight terrorists? How can you make sure that we make our places? Because if our places are safe, our people will be productive. I take a case of Nigeria today. Most farmers cannot go to the farm. And that's why we are seeing this skyrocketing in terms of food price. Because what we normally would produce, we cannot even produce. They cannot even produce for themselves, talk less of producing for you because they cannot go to their farms. So those are part of the thing. Where are we telling them, no, if Mr. President is going there now, he's saying, okay, fine. Are you going to help us with military equipment to fight banditry and kidnapping? Most modern military, a situation whereby a bandit will stay in one forest and be threatening us in this air and time and using phones and even putting his on YouTube, on Twitter, and we are not able to get there and say this is the exact location that they are. We need to begin to do that. We need to begin to tell them that we need your help.
We need them to help us to, at the end of the day.
We need your help. We are not saying we are begging you, but we need your help in this area because if you are able to help us in this area, we will not be a burden to you. I keep saying it. Actually benefit. Why was the Food and Agricultural FAO, Food and Agricultural Organization established? It was established because of China. In 1978, they said with the kind of population these Chinese are growing, if you continue like this, very soon the world will run out of how to feed them and it will become an international crisis. But today, the Chinese are feeding the world because they look inwardly and begin to use their people, that population, as an asset. That is why Donald Trump is fighting. American companies see that they make more money by employing in China than employing their own people in America. They feel more comfortable in iPhone is producing in China rather than in America because of cheap labor. That is what will happen when you invest in your people.
As you know, Trump has come in on that, and I said, enough of all that producing American products, iPhone in China. If you don't come and build those factories here and start to do it here, you people will see yourself.
He's not saying, you know what? He's not saying that you cannot come. He's not saying that the iPhone, it will not be more expensive when you produce it in China. And that means maybe the people will not be able to buy. So you'll be forced to. But again, you remember the Chinese also are masters of this. And what the Chinese will do, and the American will quiver, is that they will devalue their currency and make their goods cheaper. So it's going to be an interesting trade war.
And this is what the world doesn't really need.
That is why the G20, I'm sure today they will be telling President Biden, hopefully he can talk to President Trump to calm down.
Well, we want our president back. He's gone. Thank you very much.
I'm happy with Mr. President.
Thank you for going. Nigerians probably, as you said, the whole communication team of the presidency will no doubt be bringing magnifying glasses to all of this. And, as somebody
said, at least now they are taking.
I think it was Prince who said, come and tell us what exactly is
They are
a
13.
benefit.
They should have all have
Yes.
jobs. We have 13
Yes.
spokespersons for the media aid of the president. So each of them should be telling us what the president is.
You saw that article where people itemized. Indeed. Okay, thank you very much, Muktar Mohammed. We'll leave it here now. Please join us tomorrow for a fresh edition. I am Yori Folari. Bye-bye for now.